People say the Ford Mustang Mach E is not worthy of the iconic Mustang name because it's an SUV and because it's an electric car. Ford says it's a true performance vehicle, and today we're going to test that claim. In this video, we will cover the price and features of all three models in the lineup, take them on a road drive, and also do 0 to 100 times to find out how fast they really are. And guess what, V8 fans? You could be in for a bit of a shock. Is the Mach E good enough to beat the V8? Let's find out. The Ford Mustang Mach E electric SUV is finally in Australia, 2 years after it went on sale in the US and a year after it arrived in Europe. It's the first fully electric passenger car for Ford Australia, following the tyre tracks of the electric Ford Transit, and its closest rival is the Tesla Model Y, Australia's top-selling electric vehicle in 2023. Although this is an SUV, it wears the Mustang badge and has Mustang styling themes after Ford executives were blown away by the performance of an early development vehicle. Purists say the Mach E is not worthy of the Mustang badge. Ford says it has the performance to match. And in this video, we're going to test that claim by putting all three models through their paces on the road and against the stopwatch in a 0 to 100 acceleration test. In Australia, there are three models in the Mustang Mach E lineup. The Mach E Select is priced from $79,990 plus on-road costs. It's powered by a single electric motor driving the rear wheels and backed by a 71 kWh lithium iron phosphate battery. Estimated driving range is a best-case scenario of 470 kilometres. It's equipped with 19-inch wheels with Hankook tyres. The next model up is the Mach E Premium, priced from $91,665 plus on-road costs. It's also powered by a single electric motor driving the rear wheels, but it has a bit more grunt and is backed by a 91 kWh nickel cobalt manganese battery. Estimated driving range tops out at 600 kilometres in ideal conditions. It also has 19-inch wheels, but they're wrapped in Continental tyres. The flagship of the fleet is the Mach E GT, priced from $107,665 plus on-road costs. It's powered by two electric motors driving all four wheels and has an epic output of 358 kilowatts and 860 newton meters. It too is backed by a 91 kilowatt hour nickel cobalt manganese battery. And it comes with 20-inch wheels wrapped in grippy Pirelli P0 tyres. However, with all that extra grunt and the added weight of the bigger brakes and the second electric motor, estimated driving range tops out at 490 kilometres in ideal conditions. Well, there's not a lot of difference in all three model grades of the Mach E, so we thought we'd just focus on the top of the range GT edition. Now, the big difference is these sport seats, and before we get into too much detail, it's worth sharing with you one of the reasons the Mach E GT does not get a 5-star safety rating. In fact, it's listed as unrated on the Euro NCAP and Australian NCAP websites, is because there's no centre airbag. The first two model grades in the Mach E lineup do have a centre airbag between the front seat occupants, and that's designed to protect head clash in the event of a severe side impact. Every other available piece of safety technology is standard on the GT and every other model range. That's the key difference. That's why you don't see a 5-star rating on the GT, that centre airbag. Right, now let's get into this car. The interior layout of all three Mach E's is largely the same, bar a few fabric differences and a few trim differences on the model grades, but the design overall is the same. So they all get this massive 15.5-inch vertical infotainment screen and a 10.2-inch digital instrument cluster directly in front of the driver. If you're wondering what this screen is here on top of the steering column, that's the fatigue monitor. There are tiny lenses in there looking at the driver's eyes to make sure you're concentrating on the road ahead. And if you're not, it'll send you a warning saying, hey, pay attention to the road. The other piece of Mustang design that Ford touched on in their presentation is the twin brow. I didn't notice it until they mentioned it, but if you look at the top of the dashboard, there's actually a dip in the middle, and that does create two brows, one for this side, one for that side. It's a nod to the original Mustang of the 1960s, and in fact, it's a styling theme that carries through on the Mustang coupes on sale today. So we have a nice open cabin layout. What's great about this large infotainment screen is there is a volume knob, and you press a couple of these tabs and that volume knob can also adjust the air conditioning controls. I do wish you could minimize some of this screen so you can have more of the cabin control display and then minimize perhaps the Apple CarPlay or Android Auto screen. The plus side is when you are using Apple Maps it does dominate most of the screen, and it is a massive high-resolution display and looks great. One thing music lovers are probably looking forward to most, the 10-speaker Bang & Olufsen sound system. That includes a subwoofer as well. We know Tesla takes its audio systems very seriously, and we suspect Ford has spotted that as well, and that's why they've gone to such an effort to put a good sound system in this car. The interior door switches are different. It's unusual. There's a vertical tab here which you just pull on and it opens the doors. It's got a nice solid feel to it. The driving position's really comfortable and the visibility is generally pretty good, but I must say the rear three-quarter over shoulder view, such as when you're reverse parking or you're trying to check the adjacent lane for traffic, because the window line does taper, it is hard to see over your shoulder in some scenarios. So probably not the best visibility towards the rear of the car, but certainly looking forward, it's great. There's a large wireless smartphone charge pad. Why this is so good, it's massive, and that means it can accommodate larger phones because, as we know, with every new phone coming out, they get bigger and the cases get bulkier. So hopefully this has future-proofed larger, bulkier cases down the track. There's also USB-A and a USB-C charge ports next to the wireless pad, and beneath that there's a storage shelf as well. This isn't a center console lid. This is an armrest which is adjustable, and underneath that we have the retractable cover for the center console, which itself is quite huge. Plenty of room there. Plenty of room in the doors, front and back as well, although I did notice no map pockets in the back seat. But let's go and take a closer look. In the back seat, as you can see, the panorama sunroof extends all the way to the back row, so you've got plenty of light in here, although no shade. The ID.5 has a shade cloth that Tesla Model Y does not, and neither does the Mach E, it seems. But in terms of comfort on long drives, we've got air vents for backseat passengers, a USB-A and a USB-C charge port, and there are two ISOFIX child seat mount points in the outboard positions. The center position has a fold-down armrest, but there's also a top tether point in the back, so you can fit an old-school child seat in the middle here. It does feel comfortable. The angle of the seat back's quite nice. The fabrics are nice, but I would say it's better for two people back here rather than three adults. Although the Mach E storage compartment is not quite as roomy as the Tesla Model Y, there's 519 litres of boot space in the rear with the seats in position, and 1,420 litres of space when the back seats are stowed. There's also 134 litres of storage under the bonnet. There are no door handles on the Mach E, instead they're opened via a button on the pillar and a tab on the doors. There's also a handy push-button touch surface so you can lock and unlock the car without a physical key. If you get stuck with a flat battery, there's a hidden hatch in the lower section of the front bumper, and the battery can be jump-started after accessing it underneath this panel under the bonnet. At a glance, all three models look the same and all come standard with a panorama sunroof. However, there are some subtle exterior design cues to distinguish each variant. The Mach E GT has a more aggressive front fascia with a tinted grille section to more easily identify it as the flagship performance model. It also comes with massive race-bred Brembo brakes and 20-inch alloy wheels wrapped in Pirelli P0 tyres. The interior of all three models is largely the same. They all come with a 10.2-inch widescreen digital instrument display and a massive vertical tablet-style 15-inch infotainment screen. The main differences inside are the colour and trim across the dash, doors and seat fabrics. Time to take them for a drive. This is the Mach E Select, the entry model in the Mach E range. But at more than $80,000, it is still a power of money and it's dearer than a Tesla Model Y. Is it as good as a Tesla Model Y? Is it $10,000 better than a Tesla Model Y? If you're a Ford fan and you love the look of the Mach E, I can see the appeal. It also has some features the Tesla Model Y lacks. It has AM radio and it has a tyre repair kit. My main reservation with the Mach E Select is the suspension. It does feel a bit busy at low speed, and you're going to notice that in city and suburban driving. That said, it does smooth out once you get up to freeway speeds. Time to go and check out the next model in the range. We're in the Mustang Mach E Premium model, which is the middle of the range, so it gets a rear-wheel drive electric motor and the long-range electric battery. The best way to describe the Mach E Premium, it feels pretty similar to the regular Tesla Model Y. Performance is line ball, battery range is pretty good, and the suspension is also pretty comfortable. Another cool feature about all the variants of the Mustang Mach E, the driver has a choice of silent mode or what they call propulsion mode, and that gives the car a high-tech interior hum. It sounds like a cross between a spaceship and a V8 engine. On balance, the Mustang Mach E Premium is surprisingly comfortable, even though it's a heavy car. And although clearly it's not as quick as the Mustang badge might suggest, it's perky enough for most electric cars. As you can hear, we are getting a little bit of tyre roar on this coarse chip road surface, but it's not too intrusive. So overall, the Mustang Mach E Premium is a nice drive. If your budget stretches that far and you don't want to drive a Tesla, it's a good alternative. With our test of the Select and Premium models completed, it was time to get behind the wheel of the GT. This is the car we're really most excited to drive. This is the Mach E GT. This is the top of the range. Yes, it is more than $100,000, but it does 0 to 100 in about 4 seconds. We're going to test that claim real soon, so make sure you stick around and watch that video. But this is the car that Ford says truly is worthy of the Mustang badge. It's the fastest, most powerful electric car Ford has ever produced, and it's one of the fastest and most powerful on the market today. What you can tell instantly by the seat of the pants as soon as you slip behind the wheel of this car, it is demonstrably quicker than a V8. There is no denying that. And there's even a little bit of a V8 hum running through the cabin. Yes, of course, it's artificial, but it's actually pretty good. My only wish, they can make it a bit louder. This car is so much fun, they should charge tickets for joyrides. Holy smoke. Okay, all you Mustang fans who are electric car haters, please stay off your keyboards, stay off social media until you drive one of these. When this thing pins your ears back and it's faster than a V8, you might change your mind. I reckon a louder V8 noise would get some rusted on Mustang fans over the line. What's equally impressive is how agile the Mustang Mach E GT feels, even though it weighs more than 2.2 tons. That's as heavy as a Ford Ranger. When we drove this car in the US about a year ago, we could tell even though we were on perfectly smooth roads, the suspension was way too firm. And in fact, it's a criticism that was also levelled at the car by the UK media. So we're thankful Ford Australia made the right move and put the upgraded suspension as standard on the cars delivered here. In addition to really powerful regenerative braking, there's also large friction brakes, or old school race bred Brembo brakes. The discs are the size of pizza trays, the calipers are huge, and you can really wash off speed very quickly. The Pirelli tyres also have beautiful grip, and they're surprisingly supple and quiet even on Australia's coarse chip roads. The grip and the hook up out of corners is just phenomenal. That's where the all-wheel drive grip really comes in, when you're climbing your way out of a tight turn. Good points. The Mach E is a comfortable and easy car to drive, and that's going to make it easy to live with day to day. And the GT in particular is next level. It has epic performance, epic handling, and epic braking. I also like the fact that the Mach E has some features that the Tesla lacks. Bad points? The base model Mach E probably isn't the pick of the range, especially when you consider what you can get in a Tesla for that sort of money. And the middle of the range Mach E is pretty good, but again, it's a touch on the expensive side. So for me, the pick, predictably, is the top of the range GT. We were curious to find out just how fast each Mustang Mach E model really is. So we lined each one up on a closed course and connected our Vbox timing equipment, which measures speed with pinpoint accuracy using satellite data. First up, the Mach E Select. It did the 0 to 100 dash in 7.2 seconds, which is on par for most commuter electric cars. Next up, the Mach E Premium. It did the 0 to 100 dash in 6.9 seconds, even though it has only a modest power advantage over the base model. Last but not least, the flagship GT. Ford claims a 0 to 100 time of about 4 seconds, but that's with a rolling start. From a standstill, we recorded a string of still impressive 4.3 second 0 to 100 times. That's more than half a second faster than a Mustang V8 and not far off Porsche 911 territory. So with the speed data collected, it was time to answer the question we started with. So is the Mustang Mach E worthy of the iconic Mustang badge? It depends on which Mustang Mach E you choose. The Select and Premium models are more middle of the road when it comes to electric cars. But the top of the range GT is absolutely a performance car, no matter what you call it. And probably one of the fastest cars you will ever get to experience. To read the full review on the Mustang Mach E range, go to Drive.com.au. Please hit like if you've enjoyed this video and subscribe to this channel so don't miss any future updates.